Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm just testing this out. I want to see if it's going to work. So, the whole purpose of this video, I'm going to talk. Can you see over there? Interpretations. So, the theme is this: you can't fix intention. What does this mean? It means that you cannot fix your intention when you say a particular word. You see, as I'm speaking to you right now, you're going through a process of interpretation. Even directly as I'm speaking to you, every word that I'm saying is having some kind of meaning to you that you get to decide what it means. That is the subjectivity that comes with speech and information. I'm passing the information to you, you get to decide what it means. I don't care to decide what it means to you. I can validate. You can ask me, is this what you mean? And even that is a process of interpretation. But at least we can have a sensible discussion. We can agree to disagree. And one of the best ways to just to validate is to point. To you ask me where, and I just show you right there, stay there, and you go over there and you stay there, and I confirm, yeah. But if I just told you go there, where, and I give you nothing, I wrote it on the paper, go there, you wouldn't know where to go, right? So these are the things that most people don't pay attention to this, but it's actually very important. When you see the Quran is higher, we agree. You see, the Quran is high. Let's not even talk about the Quran yet. This rule, by the way, to apply to the Quran also, but more so the tradition that is really causing problem. It's not the Quran that causes problem the most of the time. It's the tradition. Now, those traditions, the context. When we say we need context, we mean like, okay, even if the Prophet ﷺ said it, what did he mean by that? You cannot just ignore that fact and be like, oh, everyone knows what it means. Of course not. You cannot do that. You cannot say everyone knows what it means. No, we don't. Okay? We don't know what it means. There have been cases, even from the tradition, where the Prophet ﷺ is telling people, go do a particular instruction, clear instructions. Don't do this until you get there. And they misunderstood it. So you cannot tell us, we that we are coming many years later, and you expect us, we know exactly what he's talking about. We can say, see, my whole message is this: interpretations, okay? Hierarchy of interpretations. Let people decide which one fits their story the best, okay? Don't close the door on interpretation. You cannot do that on the basis of our subjectivity. Let people be subjective, man. Each era that comes, let them decide what it means to them. I'm not going to be there. I have to deal with what I have with me right now. I don't know what will be their situation in that time. Leave them alone. Let them decide what they want at that time too, because the language would have changed. Everything would have changed. You cannot impose your own understanding on them. What do I mean by that? Maybe they start using words in different ways. You cannot now say they have to use it in a particular way. They wouldn't even understand what you're saying. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that if there's a possibility to misrefer, there's a possibility. Then there's a possibility to misunderstand. Okay, there's a possibility to misunderstand or misread. If it's okay, so reference and reference is like this. When I say go or book, if I say book, there's a reference which is the book itself. My word is the symbol referring to that book, right? So what it means is that my word symbolizes a particular thing in reality. So that is the reference. So if now there's a possibility to misrefer when I give you a particular word, when I say something that do not take the purple book, okay? If there's a possibility to misrefer, meaning the purple book I'm talking about is something else. Maybe it's not really a purple book. Maybe it's a metaphor or something. If there's a possibility that you could take it literally and go and pick up a purple book without understanding what I meant, there's a possibility to misrefer. Therefore, there's a possibility to misread. You could get it right, but you could miss it. You could be wrong, right? So you have to look at, okay, what is the best thing that fits this context? Okay, like, why would they be speaking metaphorically when there are literally purple books here? There's a purple book here in his room. So you can say, from what I see, this is what he's saying. And most of the time, we might not be thinking about this, but we are mostly pretty clear about most things. Like, when the words I'm speaking to you, I expect you to understand it without thinking too deeply. Is this what he's saying or not? That kind of stuff. But really, this is what's going on. Okay, so that's the second thing. Okay, I've already talked about the hierarchy of interpretation. Then lastly, instruction and product. I saw this from a comment of a person actually. Instruction and product. What does that mean? Imagine I give you instruction to build a particular program. I give you instruction, build this program or build a house. I wrote the instruction, I drew everything, and I gave it to you. Do this. When I give you that instruction, the only way I will know if you really got what I'm saying is if I actually see the thing you built, the product. So if my instruction doesn't tally with the product, where's the problem? You have misunderstood the instruction. I know what I was looking for. I put it down. See that transfer? This is the problem, they said. When you transfer the intention into words, there's a possibility to misrefer. Therefore, there's a possibility to misread. The guy could get it right and build the house and be like, wow. In fact, I like this. This guy, he knows what he's doing, right? But it's possible that he doesn't, that he makes a mistake, right? So that is the point of the whole thing, like the instruction and the product. There needs to be a validation of what did I use? Fulfillment. Okay, so I ask you to fulfill the instruction. The only way I will know if you fulfill the instruction is see if the product tally with my intention, which you don't know. I only give you, the only way you will know my intention is when I give you validation, like, yeah, you're right, that kind of thing. So this is how our language is structured. And people that always try to, okay, let's say I give the instruction to build the house a certain way, and one guy comes and says, and then there are two different opinions on the issue of how to build a house. How would we know what the boss is really saying, right? Until he comes back and he tells us, no, you guys are wrong and you guys are right, right? So your task is to show how you see. Most of the time it might be that case. So what you need to do is just show why, the reason why you're choosing that interpretation of the instruction and why it makes more sense. That's your job, not to shut the other person down, because there's a possibility you could be wrong too. There's a possibility. You have to agree that there's a possibility. Most people don't like to feel that way, but there is a possibility. So that's the whole message of this whole thing that I just, yes, done. Yuki, can you read it? If there's a possibility to misrefer, then there's a possibility to misread the intention behind the instruction, message, word, or symbol. So there needs to be a process of validation each time. We need to see if you have fulfilled the instruction. And the only person that can fulfill the instruction, if the person is not available, all we have is attempts to try to know what the person is intending, which we might not get. Some of the time we might not get it. And that's the point people miss. They think they know exactly what the person is saying, and they cannot possibly be wrong. That's where the problem comes. And this is what we need to pay attention to. And another place I want to focus on metaphysics. When we're talking about something being intrinsic to God, what does that even mean? Like, maybe all this language stuff is what's causing the problem. And I would like to actually, maybe people that, all these philosophers, Muslim philosophers, why don't you guys see this, what I'm saying? What if all this essence and all this being, the nature thing, what does it mean that human nature? What is human nature, bro? What is that? I don't know human nature. To say rational, to be rational. What if a cat is rational? Does that make them human? Of course not. So there's a problem we have here. Okay, so I want to explore that also. This is part of my whole process I want to go through. So let's just end the live here. It's just a test anyway. So I'm actually release this. So see you guys later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's end the stream.